Travis learns a little bit more about what's going on the rest of the West Coast. Chris finds a constructive outlet for his emotions, and power pills. Stay away from the power pills. On this week's episode of AMC's Fear the Walking Dead, Season 2, Episode 2, We All Fall Down. Alright, spoilers ahead, just so you've been warned. So, really good episode this week. Starting to get into the meaty stuff, the real nitty gritty. Yes, we're still working on character work, but we're dealing with character work as applicable to the world around them. We are starting to really learn actually the lessons of living in this new world. What you can do, what you can't do, who you can be friends with, who you can help, and who you should stay away from. So, as the episode starts out, the families are on the run from the mysterious vessel that appears to have a .50 caliber machine gun mounted on the top of it, which took out the boat that we saw at the end of last episode. To do so, they have taken refuge on Katrina Island. I love that. Instead of Catalina Island, it's Katrina Island. Very cute. And a ranger station there, hoping to find some information, some supplies. Now, something that I had missed last week is apparently they have a lot less supplies than planned on. When Strand first took us to the boat, the impression that we had is the boat was stocked and ready to go, that it was prepared, that they were bringing things up. Apparently, not as many supplies as they had hoped, certainly food. So, I've got to give it up back. Salazar, you were right to start fishing straight off. My mistake. I will admit my mistakes when I make them. So, they are looking for supplies, and they see a little flashing light which sort of draws them into the station, and then this is where they meet the Geary family. Now, straight off the bat, we're starting to see differences between Rick's group, the experienced group, and Curtis's family here, and the new discovery of things. You know, walking up to a station, flashlights on, hey, it's all right, don't worry, we're fine, nothing to fear here. That is, to me, that was the signature line right there. You have nothing to fear from us when it's all about fearing the Walking Dead. It was a nice little line. But we do get to meet George and his family. And one of the great things that we get from George is information about what is going on. He's been in contact with many of the other ranger stations up and down the coast. And to me, this was a really great scene here of just giving us that information in sort of a dark, creepy manner. We just start to find out, no, this city has fallen, and this city has fallen, and this part of the country, and the inland's also been hit. So a great way of sort of catching us up to what's going on, but keeping it in kind of a creepy manner between the way it was shot, dark at night with the candlelights just around. They're just having this little quiet conversation. Oh, this is gone, this is gone. Let's look at the map, and it's got all of these X's marked on it. Really transferred from that visceral feeling of what is going on, that really dread of there is nowhere to go. I mean, they had already looked in the logbook and find out that San Diego has fallen, and Strand wasn't really taking that by the word. Hey, this is just one boat. They may not have checked things out. His plan is obviously to get to San Diego, and we'll hit the potentials of why that is coming up. But this really kind of guarantees it. That George has been in this communication, finding out most of the cities have been napalmed. They have shut the Mexico border down. How you can do that on the ocean, I don't really know. Obviously inland that is done, but they probably may have patrolling ships. We don't know. And I think that's a lot of the great part of where we are right now, is because everything is just falling, there's that lack of information, that lack of really knowing how far has this actually spread. As far as Travis and Maddie and the rest of the family know, this might be confined mostly to just Los Angeles or just a few major cities. With this, we find out how extensive everything is, and I think that's a great position to put the families in that kind of lost, unknown, we have no idea where to go or what to do next place. Now, as for the Geary family, there's definitely something wrong with them, and I like that they've really picked that up, especially Nick. Again, Nick, one of my favorite characters in this show, and really because he effortlessly has transitioned into the new world. Really just seeing things how they are. When the kids are around, he's great. He can jump in and he can play with them. He's living in the moment without being burdened by the feeling of loss. Because again, he's been living in this kind of edgy world for so long right now. The fact that the rest of the world's falling apart, that's just what he's expecting. You know, that's just where he is in his life as it is. The perfect line with Travis when Travis goes to find Chris, and Nick says to him, you know, I'm good with at-risk youth because I am at-risk youth. I mean, it's perfect character work, and Frank Delane really does a great job of bringing him on. And then, as I said, when Travis goes out to find Chris, Chris has been kind of still poo-pooey as he starts the episode out and he's talking with his dad. He's just kind of very pushy away. And again, you can understand the difficulties he's going through, but I don't know, just kind of whiny. But he does pick up a new skill hanging out with Seth, the elder Gary's son, when he finds the walkers coming up on the beach and they start to see a little bit more of what is going on the island. It's not completely safe. They have walkers that are coming up on the beach. Luckily, they've got a gate up there, or the kids would have been dead in the beginning of the episode. Why are children wandering around by themselves in this post-apocalyptic world? But this gives Chris a chance to really work out some of his emotions and do it, like I said when we opened up, in a constructive sense. I mean, not that being alone and being out there is necessarily the best thing for his psyche, but he is at least picking up a skill that is necessary to survive in the world. And that's really what we're looking at. Maybe he's going to be able to jump into it a little bit more, but he's driven by emotions and the refusal to necessarily accept reality as it is, plus being driven by emotions, even if you know how to kill walkers, that doesn't always end up well. Right now, Chris is not on my high chance of survival list just because of how he's approaching things and how he's sealing things. Nick's going to be around for a long time. Nick and Strand will probably survive for a long time. Chris right now, not really sure what his life expectancy is to be. But again, learning the new rules of the world is kind of, and how everybody is adapting to it is really what we're getting through a lot through this episode. We have Ophelia talking with her father and seeing that she's starting to understand the world. And by understanding this world, she is starting to understand her father, which was kind of a dig in a way, because she's like, you know, it's cruel, implying that her father is cruel. But her dad's also been through a lot, so I think this is starting to get her to understand how he has become who he is because of the world that he's had to live through. He tried to protect her from this type of world, but the world encroached on them anyway. It's great that she is making this move and can survive, and I think this might lead to the two of them having a nice bonding moment. Then we have Alicia, who is just bummed out that everything is gone. As usual, doing a little bit better on it, but I like her conversation with her and Nick, because again, you know, the way that Nick's looking, he's looking out on kind of the positive aspect that, well, there's no more noise pollution, there's no more light pollution, we can look up and see the stars, it's all quite beautiful. Again, finding that positive line for it. But again, with Nick, his skills really come into play here, and as the ex-addict, well, current addict, I guess you're an addict all your life, whether or not that you were able to find what it is you're looking for. He is, you know, the minute he's got a moment, he's looking for pills. He's going through the medicine cabinets. He's going through any areas that he could find, and that is where he comes up against the power pills. And those were mentioned by little Harry Geary when they were first hanging out. In the nice kind of creepy scene with the dolls, all the dolls have holes in their head, and they've been named for, I believe, all of their neighbors. You've got the campers, you got the neighbors, you got, you know, the uncle. You have all of these people that seem to apply. These are ones that they have known. These figures are now taking the place of people that young Harry has known who are now gone, and then relates the story of, oh yeah, the holes, that's what we have to do now when people get sick. But he won't get sick because he has power pills, which Nick doesn't understand and later across does run into. And his knowledge of pharmaceuticals and his understanding of people gets him to really nail it down, the idea that this is their Jonestown option. This is basically poison pills that the dad has standing by in case of emergency for the family, but he's talked to him about them. Really kind of creepy. And I think this is where maybe few people were going to have the debate, is because Nick found the pills, is that why little Willa died? Because she walks in as he has the pills, and now he puts them away, puts them back in the globe, puts them back up on top of the cabinet there. So they were back where they were. But because Willa saw that, is that what allowed her to get them? I don't really think so. I mean, there might be a small amount of truth in that. But as we learned from when little young Harry was talking, they already know about what the power pills are. And if you listen to what he says, if I take them, then my family can stay together. And I think that is what happened to Willa. Once she was told by her mom that they're going off on a boat trip, the little girl gets the feeling that the family is going to be separated. Let me take my pill now so that our family can stay together. I think the lie is what did it. Whether she knew where they were or not at the time, we don't really know. We could say maybe she didn't know where they were, but she certainly knew about them, was told about them. Young Harry knew about them. So I don't think that was, you can really put that on Nick for her finding the pills. I think she already knew about them, and whether or not she was able to find them then or not, she took them because it was the promise that the family could stay together because of that. So, and then we have the horrible scene. It's, man, child walkers, that gets me right here. It's just the hard point, especially now as everything is kind of fresh and they've got those dead blue eyes that open up. Really creepy. And I love just the moment that they paused, that she didn't wake and just immediately went, but almost that kind of mom talk of oh no, am I okay? Is everything going to be? And then no, then everything's bad. And it all goes downhill from there. I think the dad, George, just sat down, just ready to die. Not very cool. But it does come down to the point of you don't take people's kids. When Seth comes on to get his brother back, you can understand why that is. I mean, why the dad even let go. In fact, what it comes down to is why the mom didn't go with them in the first place. I'm really kind of curious about, because yes, she has MS. She is slowly dying. But if you're going to take your kids away from where they are, they should be at least with one parent, even if it's temporary. Even if you go with the kids and then as things get bad, you have to be lost by the wayside or taken care of or whatever, that's understandable. But what, she was just going to stay there with the husband and the older son and just send the kids off with the strangers? I mean, kids do not want to leave their parents. That's the whole family thing. So I think the idea from the beginning is what sort of caused that all. The mom just looking for some salvation for her kids, but not really knowing that just sending them out with strangers, there's no guarantee. Yes, there's difficulties on the island, but at least it's something that you can deal with at the moment. You have some options. Just sending your kids off, no, that's not good. But of course, let's not forget Strand himself. I love Salazar sitting on the deck on the bridge of the boat, just staring at him. Man, that was creepy. Really creepy. But of course, he suspects things are going on with Strand, and Strand has not been completely forthright with all of his information. And Salazar does sort of imply that maybe this isn't Strand's boat. I don't think that's the case, because even when they were in containment, they got the family. He went straight to the house, went straight to the boat, knew exactly what the plan was. So unless he had stolen all this stuff earlier and had it standing by, I do believe that this is his boat, and his phraseology was just the way you're putting things out there. But he apparently has a satellite phone. I'm assuming it's a satellite phone because I don't know how any other phone lines are working at this time. And he is talking to whoever is in San Diego that he is going to meet. My feeling is that is a wife or girlfriend, somebody very close, somebody emotionally very close to him. that he is going to meet and is going to rescue. And that may be why he needs the other people on the boat to facilitate that, or is just backup. Salazar was saying, Daniel was saying, I think you took too many people, didn't you? This isn't, who are you planning to leave behind? Again, a lot of suspicions here, but I don't know how well they're based. It might just be because of Salazar's background and that lack of trust of people, that they always have something else going on. Yes, we know that Strand is hiding something, or at the very least has not been forthright in volunteering all the information. It might fall more along the lines with him. And definitely has a plan. He's got a gun, he's got maps. Something in Mexico looks like a destination area. That might be where he's planning on going. We'll find out, obviously, a little bit more. But the dynamic between the two of them, very interesting. Daniel, obviously not trusting Strand, keeping a very close eye on him, like the specter of death or a guardian angel, depending on how you want to look at it. But Strand, I think Strand's got a heart. I think that there is something strong and emotionally positive within him. He is just trying to I don't think he trusts the world. Again, his background, wherever he has gone through, is not about volunteering information until it has to be known. Otherwise, he's going to play everything really close to the vest. But I don't think he's planning on betraying anyone, at least at the moment. So again, by the end, everything falls apart for the Geary family, and Travis, Maddie, and the rest of them have to take off and leave them behind. And part of this is going to be both Maddie and Travis really learning what they can do, what they can't do. Travis has to be a little bit more accepting of the world, understanding that what Chris is going through is going to be a necessary transition, that having to kill walkers, having to eventually, they'll have to kill people, being prepared and in that position and knowing what it is you have to do. Eye socket, base of the skull, thanks Seth. These are good lessons, and he's got to kind of breach over that expectations, that hanging on to the old world, and start to embrace really what's going on with the new one. Maddie, on her part, has to start learning who she can help and who she can't help. That it's not all about everybody we run into we have to save. You really have to pick and choose, and it's not from a sense of cruelty or not caring. It's prioritization. You've got to watch after your people first, because things can turn on a dime, as they saw right there when little Willa turned and ate Mom, and George just kind of gave up and sat down. When things turn, they turn very quickly, and you have to have your priorities right in watching after your family, and that is what I think is going to be the lessons learned over the next at least few episodes with everybody in the family. How the new world works, how you are placed within it, and how you have to alter your behavior in order to survive. Now, next week it looks like we get to find out what happens to Flight 462, the little web series that's been appearing on during all of Walking Dead for this last season. They're little bits. You can catch everything on the web if you want on the AMC's channel if you haven't seen all of those or if you missed in the episodes. But basically what had happened with that airplane, it crashed down. As we saw in the sneak preview of what's coming on, we have the girl from that show. So that'll be kind of interesting. We're getting to tie some things together as we move towards San Diego and whatever is waiting down there for Strand. So next week should be really exciting. But overall, like I said, this week, great episode. This is the stuff they need to continue in. You didn't have to have a lot of walkers, but you had great story, you had great character work, and it was gritty, it was emotional. Things were moving forward, and that's what we really want to see. So, that's it. We're done for this week. Please press like if you enjoyed my review. Subscribe. Come back every week. We're going to be going all through Fear the Walking Dead. And next week we will be starting out with Season 6 of Game of Thrones. So a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up next week also. Comment in the section below. Let me know what you think. Do you have any questions, any thoughts? Let's get a little dialogue back and forth. I really enjoy that. You can catch me on Twitter. I'm at Darren Jakes. Other than that, I'm out of here. I'm D, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.